start the recording so we can share this around. Megan, can you help me with the chat? If someone throws in a question or asks to slow down, would you mind just flagging that for me? Because I'm going to have that window minimized. Thanks. All right, so here is our agenda. Give me a thumbs up if you can see this timeline. Thank you. So I will do a very brief coordinators report, and then we will have working group updates. Our co-chairs will give us an update from all of the great things that happened last week. And then we will hear from our two Food Council nominees, Dr. Mike Bartolo and Renee Taylor. And then we will move into our coalition development activity kicked off. I'm going to kick it off, but then I'm handing over the reins to the advocacy co-chairs who have done a lot of great work on what we're about to enjoy today. And then as always, we'll leave time at the end of our meeting for community updates and announcements. All right, now bear with me. We're going to try something new. Oh yeah. Here we go. Okay, a reminder, I see some new faces on the phone and that makes me so happy, or on the screen. Yeah, very excited that you're taking time to join us and learn a little bit about the food project. And for all of you who are returning, a friendly reminder of where we're trying to go. So our North Star, what we want to like embody by the time this is all said and done, but it's really never done because systems change is a process. We want Pueblo to be recognized across the nation as a model local food system that creates economic opportunity, is representative of our diverse culture, and ensures everyone has convenient, affordable access to nutritious food that they enjoy. And the goal of the Pueblo Food Project is to develop a sustainable, vibrant, nutritious, and equitable local food system that supports Puebloans in living healthy, happy lives. So that's what we're up to. That's where we're going. So we have an implementation award from the Colorado Health Foundation that provided $200,000 to this community coalition to work on these 6 goals. And I'm just going to give you a brief update on where we are on each of these 6. Goal number 1 is to build and expand on partnerships to increase the amount of access in our community. I mentioned at the last meeting, we're in the beginning conversations with WIC, SNAP, and eventually the food pantries to create a video series regarding how to best utilize those services, reducing the ambiguity around using those services, and getting more people signed up to partake in the benefits that are available. So that initial conversation with the WIC office went really well. And it is now my job to kind of compare the WIC conversation to what a SNAP set of videos might look like and build the bridge so that we're all kind of brainstorming at the same time. So I thank Lindy for being part of that conversation, co-chair of the Food Access Working Group, and I hope to have more on that by our December update. Next, goal 2, as I mentioned at the last meeting, is on pause until January. Same Cafe stands for So All May Eat. They're the longest running pay what you can cafe in the country. And they're looking at putting an outfit here in Pueblo. And we have a matching grant with them to kind of explore what that might look like for our community and also see how we could create a really robust job training program as a result. Goal number 3, work with PEDCO to create local food system support program. All right, round of applause. People, put your fears aside. Our first conversation with PEDCO was I want to say a slam dunk. We had such a positive conversation with Jeff regarding all of the opportunities that are out there. You know, it's not just this half-cent sales tax that PEDCO has access to. There's the PEDCO Foundation, there's other foundation dollars. And we were really just scoping out what would be the low-hanging fruit for us to create some wins as a partnership, talking about job training and talking about really incentivizing institutional and local procurement and what that would look like in our community. So there are options out there, contrary to popular belief that PEDCO only deals with primary jobs, or PEDCO will only help us if it's products leaving Pueblo. Actually, it sounds like there are lots of ways to work together. And one idea that was discussed and had some excitement to it was the revitalization of the Mineral Palace greenhouse. So a surprising potential partnership there, if we really focus on what it means to skill up on hydro, what it means to do aquaponics, and kind of create that, as we've sort of described, not only as a community learning hub, but as a technical learning center for people with urban agriculture career pathways. So that was very exciting. Goal number 4, the Food Economy Working Group is continuing to discuss the features of what a food business support program might look like. And I'll give you a little more on that during the working group update. Next, develop an advocacy plan to bring food and farm literacy and education into the classroom. I'm not going to steal the thunder of the food and farm literacy and education working group update, but we're having conversations that will help us better understand what that looks like for our community, taking lessons learned from past initiatives and creating a new opportunity to push that forward. And then finally, grow PFP policy influence in local, state, federal institutions and spheres. Well, that is exactly what we're going to practice today with your active participation and the help of the advocacy co-chairs. We're going to start on goal number 6 right now. So I'm excited that that's what we have planned. Any questions on that before I move on? Okay, hearing none. So we do have a great draft of our decision-making framework to share, and I'm going to come off Miro and bounce you into a new window here. Let me see. Give me 1 second to pull that up. Here it is. Here we go. Sorry. So each of the working groups had an opportunity to review this potential decision-making framework last week. And I'm not going to spend the detailed amount of time that we spent in those working group conversations, but I am going to share out to the wider coalition that this activity is taking place. It's important for us as a community-based coalition that our decision-making process is transparent, inclusive, and community-centric. What that means is we want everyone to feel like their opinion is valued. We want everyone to feel empowered to share their opinion. And we want to make sure that the things we're doing are representative of our coalition, not just a couple of minds making decisions in a back room. So a friendly reminder that we have this, again, $200,000 budget that we get to spend. And in short, the decision-making framework essentially puts the power or the first step in the hands of the working groups with the biggest connection to the work. So working groups will come up with a proposal. That proposal will be voted internally within the working group. The working group, if it passes their own internal checks and balance, will submit that to the Food Council, and the Food Council will vote on whether or not a funding a proposal moves forward. The decisions will be done all via online voting system. And in the event that there is an initiative that's not based in a working group, really it's coalition wide, that would come to the whole coalition as a vote. For example, if we wanted to pursue an equity, diversity, and inclusivity workshop, and we wanted to spend some of our coalition development dollars on that. That decision and what that might look like will be a coalition-wide conversation, not just in one particular working group. And let's say, for example, that for whatever reason, the Pueblo Food Council reaches a no answer or a no vote on a particular proposal that a work group has submitted. The Pueblo Food Council commits to explaining in detail why that no was reached, what further information is needed from the working group to better evaluate the proposal, and if a conversation is preferred rather than typed feedback, the Pueblo Food Council members will do what they can to make that conversation happen in a timely manner. So there is kind of a closed loop on it. If it's a yes, great. And if it's a no, you'll know why, and you'll get a chance to revise that sort of proposal. I have yet to introduce this to the Pueblo Food Council, so I'm going to give you a quick peek. It's on our agenda after this meeting to kind of review what the potential proposal required elements might look like. These are meant to be short, I don't think they need to be more than 2 pages long, but just to give you a sense, these are kind of what they will need, what they might need, and this could change because again, they haven't had a chance to provide feedback on it. What they might need to make a decision so that we're actually spending that grant money in a way that feels true to the Pueblo Food Project mission, true to the desires of the coalition, and in line with our grant compliance requirements. So very quickly, obviously the purpose, who it's going to serve, what is the desired outcome, how does it connect to the goals, what steps were taken to form the proposal, how does the project contribute to enhance or pursue food systems equity, how are you going to measure success, what's the opportunity for input and feedback, and then of course, what's the timeline. So, and again, spoiler alert, I haven't had the Food Council review this yet. These were just some best practice questions that I pulled out from other parts of Colorado Health Foundation Coalition development work. So we'll get a chance to kind of deep dive on this. But creating this template was a suggestion that came out of one of the working group meetings last week. So hopefully this will kind of push us in the right direction, and then we can start having some fun and get creative and start spending some of that money. Are there any questions on that? None? I'm not hearing any. All right, we will continue on. Let's see. So good news. We were awarded $5,000 for the Packard Fund for Pueblo, which is a really cool opportunity for us. It's specific to the Youth Council. The Packard Fund for Pueblo designated those dollars to really enable the Youth Council to dig deeper into their leadership development and create solutions that they want to see here in the food system. And of all of the applicants who submitted an application, only 23% were first-time applicants. And so, of course, as a new organization, we were a first-time applicant. So round of applause to the Pueblo Food Project for standing out and kind of making the mark to receive some of those funds. Next, we were awarded a $15,500 grant for the Colorado Blueprint to End Hunger. This particular bucket of money will be used to create grab and go meal kits for the students at Columbian, Minnequa, and Carlisle. It's a partnership with those particular elementary schools. Oftentimes, students at those schools go home not knowing where dinner is going to come from that night, as sort of evaluated and recognized by the teachers there. And so we put together a proposal to kind of respond to that challenge. Even though students are schooling from home right now, that doesn't mean they're not still receiving services from the school and from their teachers. And our goal is to have the pantries completely set up so that in the spring semester, they're ready to go. Each meal kit will include a pound of ground beef, a pound of pasta, a jar of marinara sauce, a bag of apple chips, and 2 cans of vegetables. I am very happy to share that every single one of those items, except for the canned vegetables, will be a local product and what most people would consider a very high-end product. So really grateful for the local vendors that we have who are willing to make homemade pasta, willing to jar the sauce, get us that local grass-fed beef. So it's a very exciting project that we get to work on. We're still awaiting decision from the Colorado Garden Foundation and from the EPA. All right. COVID-19 relief work continues just to move along at a very quick pace. This is a shot of all of the volunteers who were there on Friday to put together 1,296 grab and go meal kits. It was a huge effort that we all participated in. The money for that project came from the CARES Act dollars that the city is managing. The request for this concept came from the homeless shelter, our soup kitchen, and cooperative care. So they were thrilled to receive the bags, and shout out to all of those volunteers. It was a lot of work. The next thing I will share, two more quick announcements. So 2,796. Does anyone have an idea what that number means? Any idea at all? If you have an idea, just set it out, or set it out, shout it out.
People
Number of people who attended the inaugural food summit.
Wow, Marissa, big goals. No, there should be a line down the middle here. 2,796 holiday meals that the Pueblo Food Project is putting out between Monday and December 22nd. We will be delivering 2,796 dozens of tamales, loaves of pizza, dozens of Italian cookies, turkeys, packs of steaks. To put it lightly, we are going hard on the holiday meal delivery. We have partner organizations all over the county who are helping us out. We have products going to folks who are participants of Meals on Wheels, Nutrition on Wheels. So homebound folks will get a little bit of love as well. We have schools, we have church organizations, we have organizations like Pueblo United, we have the Boys and Girls Club, just a huge community lift to push out this cheer into the Pueblo food system. And of course, every single product is locally procured. So shout out to that. It's a really exciting thing. The list of names you see on the side is your host committee for the Food and Ag Summit 2021. And while I have you here, let's quickly launch a poll to make sure everyone is still with me. The Food and Ag Summit Host Committee will sort of take on the decisions of what this event will look like. But just out of curiosity, what kind of timing are folks thinking would be best, recognizing that with the pandemic, we're probably going to be virtual? That could change by October, who knows, but it's almost 100% likely that if the event takes place in February, it will be virtual. Why February and October, you ask? Well, we want farmers to be able to deeply participate in this activity. And honestly, farmers work from, I mean, they're probably already starting work in February, let's be real, but things really get going in mid-March, and we know they're swamped through the end of September, early October. So this is an opportunity to make sure that very critical set of stakeholders gets to participate fully in the event. And again, this will be a host committee decision, but I think it's helpful for everyone to share their opinion. All right, I'm gonna count it down from 5 and I will end the poll. Get your vote in if you haven't already. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And let's share these results. So About 60% of folks would rather in October, but there's a good amount of folks who would rather in February. So good, thank you for participating and sharing your feedback there. Again, the host committee will have a convo about that. They received an email from me late last night. We hope to have our first meeting after Thanksgiving, but before our next food project coalition meeting in December. So we have something to share with you. All right. And the last thing that I will say before I turn it over to Megan for a social media update, the youth council is moving and grooving. This is a picture of Gianna, who came to volunteer on Friday, and they are interested in taking tours of food related businesses. Can be food or food systems related businesses. So if you are willing to host, or if you have an idea on bringing in a small group, it would be small. Very much appreciate it. We are going to schedule our first visit with Jojo Sriracha over winter break, and they're really excited to take a look at more businesses as well. All right, and with that, I'm going to stop my share and turn it over to Megan for a very quick social media update.
Good morning, everyone. Let me pull up my notes really quick because I was on the chat. For social media, we have over 600 likes and follows on Facebook. So that's pretty good, moving and grooving there. And 227 follows on Instagram. And that's a lot for like only being really working for like the last month, 2 months. So I'm really happy about that. Our post so far this month that has had the most interactions with is the one that we did that was posted about the homeless grab and go meal kits with 200 nearly 1,500 impressions on Facebook and over 30 likes on Instagram. I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but it's more than enough than people usually get on Instagram. I do want to extend an invitation for any food service or any food business to message me, email me, or Monique to get like your business posted on our social medias. I posted one for Bistoro yesterday. I know that some of these businesses are struggling, shutting down again, and whatever's going on with the pandemic. So please, like, if you have anything that you want to post or any other business that you think should get their message out, let me know. I would be happy to post it. I'm more than happy to post it. I want to post it. So any content, throw my way, please. Thank you. That's all from me.
And Megan will make you look good. She knows how to do it. So you don't have to give her much for it to turn out fly. All right, let's go into our working group updates. Let's start with advocacy.
I don't have too much for you guys without giving up our fun activity later. And Monique mentioned one of the main things. We had a wonderful meeting with Jeff Shaw at Pettico. It was productive and positive, and I believe there's going to be quite a few avenues for collaboration down the road. And then, yeah, we finalized our talking points with the other work group chairs, and that is going to be the group activity we're doing later with you guys. We'll be doing some training on these talking points and helping to empower you all to educate our community more. So without giving up too much later, that's probably all I'll do for now.
Thank you. How about environment? Jim, you're on mute.
There we go. That's better. Hello, folk. Nice to see you all. The environment is still doing well. The working group has met and we went through the advocacy points, the framework for decision making, and the asset mapping tool. And I think that's about it for the moment. We were doing most of those things for the last hour last week. So things keep moving along. We have new members and new opportunities. So thanks very much.
All right. How about food access? Lindy.
Sure. So we also, it was really cool being able to all chat out and put our input and ideas into the decision-making framework, the asset mapping, and talking about the WIC and SNAP videos. It's really exciting, the progress that's being made on those. And then it's always a great chance to let people know there's need for more volunteers and where are those most needed. So we talked about pantries that could use help, rallied some extra volunteers for the homeless grab and go meal kits. And then somebody brought up, what about Sunday and weekend opportunities? So that's something we can continue to look at, both so that people could access food on those days and so that volunteers who maybe work during the week, they can also get involved in and help us build momentum. And we welcomed a couple new members as well. So that was very exciting, seeing it growing.
All right, food and farm literacy and education. Dr. Kelly.
All right, good morning, everyone. We had a great meeting as well, and a similar structure of focusing on our talking points and getting everyone's input and adjusting those appropriately, and then looking at the Miro board for the asset mapping and getting our first skeletal structure of who are the players and what are they contributing to this great farm to school movement that we're starting to build. And so I also talked about a USDA grant opportunity and looked at the 4 different pathways that were possible there. And we talked about putting edible gardens at some of the schools and some of the struggles around sustaining those over time and the need for building more infrastructure and partnerships around that. And we also looked at wanting to build an advocacy or strategic plan around the farm to school access at the counties, and that this grant would take too long, that we're looking with the CHF timeline to have proposal for District 60 and 70 by next summer. And so the focus was really around wanting to do a curriculum boost and having some systemic change around having best practices around agriculture available to all the kids, and kind of having a mix between focus on in school and then community-based education as well. So thank you.
All right. And I will do a quick economy update. I covered for Mo because she was inundated with PCC COVID-19 stuff, which I imagine is very crazy. So the economy working group is continuing to scope out what a food business support services program might look like. We've had conversations around what a broker might entail and conversations around gathering all of the options that are available in the community and making it easy to understand for folks. And Marissa came up with a really cool next step, which is to go back to our market scan, look at people who responded and said, yeah, you can contact me, and have deeper conversations one-on-one with those businesses and say, what do you actually need? We know that in the scan, the number one support requested was distribution support. Right after that was marketing support. But now what does that mean? So how do we get a little bit deeper on understanding those needs? And so our goal is to have a couple of those conversations between now and the next working group meeting. And Marissa, I have an action item to get with you to figure out how we're going to do that.
Okay, sounds good.
Awesome. That's that was a big part of our discussion there. And I just want to
Well, thank you, Monique and Marissa.
Well, snaps out to Lindy and to Dr. Jim, because their recruitment efforts on the food access working group and the food and the environment working group have been top notch. We're seeing new faces at those meetings each week. And just really thankful that you're taking the time to spread the news and get more people involved, because that's really how we're going to get the work done. So shout out to the two of you for holding the microphone loud and people responding, which is great. Okay, now we're moving on. We have a very exciting opportunity. So the Pueblo Food Council is the advisory board for the Pueblo Food Project. And we have council elections coming up. We received 2 applications, 2 nominees who are looking to join or rejoin the council. Renee Taylor is technically rolling off her initial term of the council, but would like to come back on. And we have Dr. Mike Bartolo as a first-time applicant or nominee to the council. And so we just want to give them each a couple of minutes to talk about their experience and why they're interested in serving on this board. And then y'all will receive a digital vote card on the 19th, I think is our day, tomorrow. So that will come out and you'll vote yes, they should serve, or no, they shouldn't. And it will be 1 question for each candidate, if you will. But yeah, now is an opportunity for them to kind of introduce themselves and share a little bit about why they're excited to serve. And we will start with Renee.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you. So I have been, as Monique said, serving on the board since it started. And I have been lucky enough to be around since almost inception. I went to the big tour that they had, and our first, when we could get together, our first dinner. I grew up on a farm in Minnesota, so I'm a farmer's daughter. I am on the food access and advocacy working groups. I run the Best for Mobile Food Pantry along with Derek and Monica from the health department. We started that about a year ago, and our first time that we did it, we served approximately 90 people. On Friday, we served 557, and we don't expect that to go down anytime soon. I enjoy the work I do here. It has made such a difference. I love helping people. So that is the reason I want to stay on the board, to make sure that the not just the access and advocacy working group, but all the groups get what they need to continue the good work of the Pueblo Food Project. And I appreciate your vote if you would so choose, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Renee. Dr. B.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you all for giving me the opportunity to speak to you a little bit today. I've just been so incredibly happy and blessed to be part of this group since it first came together. Just as a little bit of a background, I was born and raised in Pueblo County and born on the St. Charles Mesa, and lived on a small farm there all my life. Graduated from Pueblo County High School. Went away for 10 years to school, undergraduate and graduate school, and I was fortunate to come back almost 30 years ago here in the Valley. I work out of the Colorado State University Research and Extension Office here in Rocky Ford. But I spent the last 30 years working with the same people I grew up around, and that's in agriculture. So I've been doing agricultural research. So I've studied things like seed development, water use, soil health, all those types of things. But probably the most important thing and most rewarding part of my career has been working with the farmers in the area. And that's a big part of my responsibility, is working with the farmers and some ranchers, but mostly the farmers, primarily in Otero and Pueblo County, that do vegetable crops, since my area of specialty is vegetable crops. I was very fortunate to be part on the ground level of a couple of organizations, the Rocky Ford Melon Growers Association, and helped instrument that, as well as the Pueblo Chili Growers Association. And then also on a statewide basis, helped be at the founding level for the Colorado Fruit and Vegetable Growers Association. So it's a really important thing for me, is to work with farmers. That is really special to me, and has been the greatest part of my career. I'm starting kind of a different phase of my career. I'm going into what's called transitional retirement. So I'm going to do that for a couple of years, cutting back on my hours till I move on to the next phase of my life, which will hopefully involve me with my hands in the dirt again, and still in the dirt. So I'm hopeful for that. And I'm very fortunate to have this opportunity to work with this group. I think when I first came across you, it's just amazing to see such a different collection of people that had such an interest in the community, really this altruistic feeling that they were really to help each other. And my passion comes from the land and the water and the people. I just absolutely love agriculture, make no bones about it. And I think we are incredibly, incredibly blessed in this community to be gifted with this land under the St. Charles Mesa, Vineland, Avondale. Absolutely incredible food making mechanism. And I want to make sure that future generations have access to that. That's my biggest concern. I've seen that diminish tremendously over the years from development and water sales and other things. And really my passion is in making sure that we have those opportunities for future generations. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions, but again, thank you for this opportunity.
And yes, we can open it up now for anyone on the line who might have a question for Renee or Mike. Y'all are quiet today. Hearing none. Again, thank you so much for your willingness to give of yourself and your time to this effort. And like I said, the vote will come out tomorrow. We would just be thrilled to have your leadership kind of guiding the ship here. So my fingers are crossed.
I'd like to say something real quickly.
Sure.
I think it's really cool to have you guys, you know, taking part in the coalition and everything. And we absolutely value your input. We looking forward to hopefully working with you a lot more. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Derek.
Thanks, Derek.
All right, let's get back to work. Okay, so we are now going to start our activity. And before we kind of get too deep, I'm going to send you off into hyperspace with a buddy. And I would like you to both answer this question to each other. What is the Pueblo Food Project? What is the Pueblo Food Project? So you're gonna go off into small groups, and we're not gonna take a ton of time for this, just like maybe 2-3 minutes. It's a very straightforward question. Go around the room and answer, what is the Pueblo Food Project? All right, here we go. I guess for the folks still here in the main room, we can answer that question. Selena, what is the Pueblo Food Project to you?
To me, it's just a great opportunity to get open up the world to local foods instead of going to King Soopers or a Sam's Club to buy some of this stuff.
Word. Spoiler alert, I think I got that 16-foot truck. So I'll find out today afternoon. And as soon as I am actually in it, I will let you know, because we'll just switch. You'll grab tamales, I'll grab petizza and all the potatoes and all that other stuff.
All right, I was actually going to talk to you about like take this time and talk about our deliveries. And I know there's the one tomorrow at 8 o'clock
now. So just a heads up that we will be joined by many here in a couple of minutes in 60 seconds.
And then talk about maybe like, so what is happening Saturday?
Essentially, it's the same thing that we're doing on Thursday, except larger numbers to fewer stops.
So are we are we bagging it or are we just picking it up and
No bagging.
dropping it off? We're bagging.
No bagging.
Okay. No bagging.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
All
no,
right.
we're not
So
bagging.
that was just a big question for me. So it's just picking up deliveries and then dropping it off, really?
Exactly.
Okay, that works for me.
All right, cool. Okay, I see folks are coming back. Welcome, welcome. You have returned. All right, so you had a chance to kind of give it your best shot to describe what is the Pueblo Food Project. And I'll remind folks, the goal of the Pueblo Food Project is to develop a vibrant, nutritious, sustainable, equitable, local food system that supports all Puebloans in living healthy, happy lives. But wait a second, what is a food system? So this question has come up a couple of times, and I apologize for not throwing out a definition for us sooner. And here's a definition written on the slide. I'm not going to read it word for word. Perhaps you can read it now that it's on your screen. But essentially, the food system is that whole web. It's the complete cycle of how we grow our food, how our food or raw agricultural products are turned into things that we want to eat, how those items are distributed, how they get into the hands of people, how people enjoy them through consumption, and then what happens with the waste products when it's done. And it is this loop and this web. And when we have a really efficient system set up that values transparency, accountability, stewardship, sustainability, respects all of the many hands that go into getting food on your plate, then we're really kind of in that juicy world where we want to be in, where we're eating really well. Farmers are taken care of, farm workers are taken care of. No one in the community is going hungry because we have a sense and we have a pulse on this loop. So again, there's a really great description here. And I'll just call out a couple of features that sometimes we don't even think about. There are so many people involved in bringing food to your plate. So many people that you can never even imagine were in some way touching what you are about to put into your body. So we just want to offer the opportunity to show a lot of respect and appreciation for the invisible hands that go to get us all of the delicious things we get to enjoy, and really bring out the opportunity here in Pueblo to make that system as positive, transparent, accountable, and sustainable as possible. So just to give you a little background there, because I know some folks have been like, what about that? All right, and with that, I am going to turn it over. Oops, I lied. One more thing. So what you can expect from now on for the rest of our time together until we get to community announcements. We're going to cover the talking points that the advocacy working group put together and that everyone else reviewed. And then we're going to practice those talking points, and then we're going to share out to the larger group. And essentially, we're doing this specifically for goal 6. We want to grow our influence, and we want to bring confidence to this group. We want you to step out into your day, and if someone says, hey, what's up with that Pueblo Food Project? You're like, let me tell you. And you feel really good, and you feel really proud to be able to say what you know, and to share that it's something that you're a part of. So with that, I will now hand it over to Jared and Lucy.
Okay, we are going to go through the 5 talking points. If you want to take notes or write anything down, you can, because we're going to go over them in smaller groups. So if it's easier for you to memorize things that way, that would be cool. But what we wanted to do is create 5 distinct talking points for the group as a whole, so they can understand, what each of the individual groups are doing, as well as what the overarching goal of the Pueblo Food Project is. Monique mentioned that this is a good way for us to, tell other people about what the Pueblo Food Project is, or if, we have to solicit local or state governments or any other institutions institutions, you have the tools in your toolbox so that you can do that and you can speak confidently about the Pueblo Food Project to others. So we worked with all of the working groups to create these talking points. And we also went back through the implementation plan and made sure all of our talking points were addressing all of the goals that the Pueblo Food Project set out to do. So with that, we're going to go through these 5 slides. And then when we break out into our groups, if you feel like any of it seems like wonky or there's like other things that we should have added, we want your feedback there. And then that way we can further refine these talking points. But for now, I think we have a pretty good base as to where we're going. So the main things are just to like generally understand the big bold points, and then the other points are just kind of sub points so you can further understand what those are. So we'll start with number 1. It is to increase equity and access to fresh food in our communities, right? That's like the main overarching goal of the Pueblo Food Project. So how do we do that? Ways in which we can do that is to take action to reduce hunger through civil engagement. And we can do that by strengthening relationships with local, state officials and between organizations. So you can do that very easily by understanding these talking points and speaking to others about that. And then we can strengthen the local food system, especially access to fresh local produce. So that's a big emphasis here for the Pueblo Food Project, is making sure local Puebloans have access to local Pueblo produce. So that is number 1, increase equity and access to fresh foods in the community. All right, number 2. The Pueblo Food Project advocates for the community's voice through their influence on local, state, federal, and institutional spheres. So it's important to note and understand, I mean, we're all here. There's 40 people on this call, so we're a community, right? So the Pueblo Food Project is doing community-focused work that's representing the desires of the local community. So we're really working on a grassroots local level to understand what people need and to help, you know, turn that into solutions for everybody in the community. So community is very important with the Pueblo Food Project. And we can also do that by building coalition capacity through online trainings, webinars, seminars, town halls, and professional development. So the Pueblo Food Project will offer, you know, various types of educational resources for people down the line through trainings and other different things. We also help support the Pueblo Youth Food Council, which is important in getting our youth involved with these missions as well. If we're not working with the youth, you know, it's going to be hard to transition that into adults, right? So it's good to start kind of at the source. And then we will also be hosting the Food and Ag Summit, which we are discussing whether that'll be in February or October of next year. And then number 3. So we want to integrate food and farm literacy and education into public schools, classrooms, and community settings. So it's really important as well, really making sure that our students have education about, you know, local food and farm literacy. In order to do that, the group is raising awareness of farm to fork connections and benefits of going local. So like, why should people care about shopping local? That's a really important topic, right? Especially here in Pueblo, we have so many local farms. Like, why wouldn't people go to these local farms? Or, you know, why aren't the grocery stores hosting local foods? So that's important, is understanding why that connection is important. I was even talking just now in our little breakout session, that's a part of sustainability, right? Like, we want to make sure we have access to local foods. That's sustainable, instead of, you know, shipping in our food from Mexico. Like, that's not a sustainable resource. So just understanding the importance of that. We can do that through growing, preserving, cooking, and shopping. And then we also want to create pathways to entry-level food systems jobs, just making people aware of, you know, what's out there, and that there are jobs in the agriculture community that you should be proud of and want to, you know, achieve and go through. So that's important. And then we also want to increase access to community gardens and community-based food education opportunities. And I think that we're doing that, you know, with the greenhouses and all of the other efforts that the advocacy and the Food and Farm Literacy Group is doing. And the next one, let's see. So the environment. Support efforts that focus on a healthy, functional environment to ensure a vibrant food system. So that's kind of like the overarch, like, you know, we have our local food system, but if we don't have a healthy, sustainable environment, there's no way to have this local food system, right? So the environment is kind of like this big overarching elephant in the room that we want to make sure is sustainable and healthy. The environmental work group wants to preserve and protect the valuable farmland in the Arkansas Valley. That is our resource. That is where we're getting our food. So we want to make sure that environment is healthy and sustainable. Promote a healthy food system that relies on sustainable agriculture practices. And they wanted me to mention that sustainable means environmentally sound and economically viable. So that is the overarching definition of sustainability. And then we should also share and amplify resources available for sustainable farming and ranching practices, as well as support efforts to ensure water rights and equity. I know water rights is a big topic here in Pueblo, so we want to make sure we can support, you know, equal water rights and equity as much as we can through the Pueblo Food Project. And number 5, develop and strengthen the local food economy. How can we do that? Right? We can connect businesses to resources and insights on the Pueblo food system. You know, if people don't know where to find other businesses to connect their local business to, we could be a good resource for them to provide them with that resource. Support new and existing businesses to scale and grow. Outline and support the development of physical infrastructures for food businesses, such as manufacturing facilities or commissary kitchens. Incentivize and develop plans for local food buyers to procure locally, as well as initiate steps to bring the same cafe to Pueblo. So those 5 points are the 5 overarching talking points that what the Pueblo Food Project is trying to achieve. And then, as we mentioned, those other sub points are just the ways in which we're going to achieve those goals. So it's a lot of information, I know. We are probably going to break into groups, and each group is going to be able to tackle one of those 5 talking points. You guys will be able to talk about it a little bit more, explore those sub points, and see if there's any other points you might want to add, or if any of the language seems a little wonky to you. We could discuss that as well.
Right. Does anyone have questions for the advocacy co-chairs before we break out into small groups? Questions, throw them in the chat. You can shout them out, comments you'd like to make before you break out into your small group. No? All right, I am putting the link to the presentation in the chat now. So go ahead and open that up when you get it, because it'll probably be helpful for you to have a little bit of a cheat sheet when you're in your small group. So here it comes. If someone could open it and just give me a thumbs up that it worked, that would be very helpful. All right, thank you, Megan. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Jane. And we are going to pop out into groups of 4 or 5, and your group can decide to go through each of the talking points one by one. If you want to rehearse them as a group, if you want to deep dive into why you think that talking point is that talking point, or you can say, our group wants to pick one, and we're just going to go all in on one because it's the one that resonated with us. So we want to give you the option to kind of play as you wish. We will do this for about 10 minutes. The goal is for everyone to kind of step away from those 10 minutes, being able to very quickly pop off 1 through 5. So get your shine on, practice with your group, and we will see you back here in about 10 minutes. Give me 1 second. Here we go. All right. Off you go. let's see. Michael, Selena, Kelly, do we want to be in a group together? Oh, Kelly just left. Michael and Selena, do we slowly starting to return? Everyone's getting booted out here.
My name is okay.
Okay. I see our number creeping up. Everyone's almost back. Okay. So we will get into a bit of discussion, and I'll stop sharing the screen so we can see each other's faces while we have this conversation. But Lucy, do you want to walk us through this last slide just to give folks a reminder of the best way to use these talking points?
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit before, but use these talking points whenever somebody comes up to you in the community and asks about the Pueblo Food Project, whether you're putting a post up on social media or whatever you're doing, emailing colleagues, like just let them know what the Pueblo Food Project is. These 5 talking points should be a concise, clear way for you to do that. And then at least we all know we're all on the same page and we all kind of have a good overview of what everybody's doing in all the other groups, especially if you're only in one group or another. It's just important that we all kind of are on the same page, especially since this is a community group. We all want to be speaking as a community in the same terms. So use these as you can to your colleagues, friends, local state officials, pitching to county commissioners, whatever it might be. Hopefully these talking points are helpful for you.
All right. And let's take a couple of minutes. Like I said, I'm going to stop my share and let's have a little bit of discussion. So who would like to either show us their new skill and throw a talking point out there, how you would describe it, or comment on whether or not these felt good to you, whether they felt natural, what went well, what was missing, comments your group had that you thought would be valuable for the whole coalition to hear. Let's just open it up for a couple minutes of conversation.
Sure.
Monique,
So
go ahead.
I'd like to start. One of the things that we were discussing in our group is, and I kind of mostly brought this up, is like when I talk to somebody, I'll tell them about what do we do and how do we do it? Those are the 2 primary things. What do we do? We increase equity and access to fresh food by strengthening the local food system, especially access to fresh local food. How do we do it? By advocating for community voices. So that was kind of the overreaching overall thing for me. So I don't know if Jared, do you have anything to add to that or not?
Nothing really. I think on number 1, Laura pointed out that we mentioned equity and access, and we did cover access in one of the lower points, but we didn't necessarily cover equity. And so maybe we thought about developing just another little blurb underneath the number 1 talking point to address how we're addressing equity. Other than that, I think we have some other stuff that we'll probably bring up later on about some collaborations and other things that came about.
Yeah, and we have equity descriptions. Each of the working groups came up with their own description of equity. We have a council-wide equity commitment, but you can expect that we will go much deeper on that in the months ahead with some technical assistance from the Colorado Health Foundation. So good call out to whoever recognized that that really needs to be defined and everyone needs to be committed to the same definition. Other thoughts? Linda, I think I heard you jump in there. Uh-oh, you're on mute now, Linda, if you're talking. CJ, I see your hand. Go for it.
Okay, I was with Meryl and Dr. Jim, and we just wanted to elaborate further on that equity point as well. Meryl's offering help with the youth terms, where we could also engage the youth council so that we can actually broadcast it to the masses, that it's not a select group and it's coming across the correct way for the greater community aspect.
Awesome. Morel, I will tap you for an equity conversation with the Youth Council for sure.
And I want to add to that, we talked about using examples sometimes is the best way to just speak to everyday folks in everyday language. And so something like, we are a group of people, and we get food to people today and tomorrow. We're the produce in your hand today and the seed in the ground tomorrow. Kind of like the fish example, but I don't really like fish, so like with the seed kind of thing.
That is hot. I gotta
Something
type,
like that.
put that
I
in the
just started
chat,
typing
girl.
it. I'm gonna type it, yeah.
Thank you.
So,
You know, the thing about examples, we're already doing so much. If we had just a concrete human example of underneath each one of these talking points, where you can say, for example, and not just say equity, which can mean so many things. Some people hear things better in an example that's close to them.
Absolutely. And we have so many examples from work that we've done throughout this year that we can draw on. We can make sure that those examples are specifically things that the Pueblo Food Project has done. That's a really great suggestion.
I had
How you?
yes.
Yeah, go for it.
Thank you. Yes, we were going kind of slide by slide, and I felt like each slide was kind of branching off the original slide or kind of growing on the previous slides in a sense. You know, starting with the equity and access, that's like the overarching importance that's very human-centric, community-centric, and then branching off from that into the educational aspects, excuse me, and then the environment, which is kind of like what was said earlier. It's kind of the elephant in the room, or the elephant everywhere, I guess, more generally being the environment. And the economy piece, which depending on an individual's perspective, may have a larger role in their life or their work than others. You know, as a Colorado Master Gardener, and you know, me having a big focus on the growing and production of the food, the economy piece is less of an emphasis for me personally, but it's still a piece of it. And you know, for businesses and things, it's a much larger piece. So that's that was number 5 in the list, but that doesn't mean that it's not one of the important pieces. So that's it for me. Thanks.
I would love to pick on a first timer. I see some new faces to the coalition meeting, and given that this is your first time in engaging with the group on this platform, can you kind of share your thoughts on the exercise and the talking points as it related to you and having fresh eyes?
I'm super new, so I can jump in on that. I really like the, you know, just like how Frank just said, how each slide kind of plays into the other. It's good because like the idea is we're bringing this to people, whether it be business owners or whether it be the community. This is the kind of stuff that needs to be free flow, being able to just have conversationally, being able to talk to people. So I think for the most part, it flows really good. I got a little hung up when you were reading the 3rd bullet point, integrate food and farm literacy and education into public school classrooms and community settings. I don't know why, essentially, Dr. Kelly and I were talking about that, just got a little bit hung up on it, but the bullet points underneath it really help to support it. I do think maybe some examples under each one would be good as well, to be able to kind of give a little bit more concrete, something for like say if I'm going to go talk to a coffee shop owner about why they need to be aware of this coalition or this project, I want to be able to say, for instance, we've helped, you know, this business with this or something like that. So yeah, but as far as like the message behind it and the work behind it, I really love it. I'm really grateful to have been invited to be here, and I'm excited to see what kind of work we can all do to help the community.
Thank you. All right.
And
One
we
more
also
poll.
referenced the infographic, thinking that it was really helpful to reference that whole systems in parallel with these talking points. Thanks.
All right, I'm launching one more poll to kind of wrap us up here. Do you feel more equipped to talk about the Pueblo Food Project as a coalition member now compared to how you felt at the start of this meeting? And we'll give it just another minute here. Almost everyone has voted. Okay, here we go. Yeah, we did work early in the morning. We got it done. That feels great. It's a great way to move into the rest of your day. All right, we have some time left. Community announcements, updates, events you have coming up, requests that you have, things that you want to share, anything and everything. Now is the time.
I kind of have an update. We're going to be having the All Pueblo Grows team meetings at noon today. I can send anybody a Zoom request if you need it. We're kind of looking for team members to be part of the All Pueblo Grows. We're going to need a lot of people this year to do the work that needs to be done in order to get seeds out into the community. There's I forget the names of the teams, but anyway, we have like a seed ordering team. We have a packing team. We have all these teams. Distribution team. I forget what else, but anyway, if you're interested in volunteering with the All Pueblo Grows, I could sure use you.
Hey,
Yeah, are you
I
guys doing
am
seed packing? Oh, sorry. I'll message you, Derek. Sorry, go ahead.
sorry. I am new and I had to dial in because we were having some internet issues here at the school that I'm at. But I am brand new to all of this in this capacity, and so I would definitely be interested if I could give my email to get more info on that All Pueblo Grows.
Sure, just drop it in the chat for me, please.
Well, she's on the phone, so I'm happy to type it down for you if you feel comfortable sharing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It's AL West at CHPA-K12.org. And my name is Amanda West, and I am the Health and Wellness Coordinator for the Chavez Huerta Preparatory Academy.
All right, I will be sure to connect you and Derek via email.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We actually have a delivery coming to your school tomorrow, 100 holiday meals for your students. So
Yes.
I will
Yes.
say hello
I'm
to you.
excited. I've heard all about it.
All right, other announcements or updates?
Yeah, one other one from me. The Eastside Mobile Food Bank will be this Friday. We're always happy to see new volunteers come out. If you've never done anything like this before, get ready to have your socks blown off. It's an amazing group of people that come out, and it's an awful lot of fun. It really, really is. Camaraderie is amazing. We enjoy seeing new faces. We really do. So it's volunteers show up about 12 o'clock, 12:30, something like that.
Still here.
On 7th, East 7th Street between La Crosse and Monument. We do the distribution. It's car or walk up. We supply PPE for everybody. It's amazing. It's been put out there through social media. With Derek and I, we kind of flood the airwaves for this thing. So please come out and join us.
Any other announcements? Okay, I want to take the last kind of minute here to run through the list and give a shout out to all of the new names and faces. Allison, Andrew, Brandy, Brandon, Danielle, Dorina. We got some great new names here, and I'm so excited that you've joined us today. I'm going to continue down the line. Who else? Michael. Let's see. Who else am I missing here? Sarah, I think this might be your first large meeting, and Amanda on the phone. Thank you so much. Shout out for joining us for your first ride. I hope you'll be back. If you have any questions between now and the next one, holler at me. I'm happy to catch you up if you're feeling like you're a little lost on something, or if there's a particular area where you want to plug in. Rebecca as well. Excuse me, I've missed you on my list. And for the folks who continue to come back each time, thank you. Couldn't do it without you. And we will be back in February. Wow. Can you tell I'm ready for vacay? We will be back in December. And in December, we're going to have some fun. So get ready for like a cool, fun December meeting vibe. I look forward to seeing you in a month. All right. Bye, y'all. Food council members, stay on this line. Do not hang up. We're going to roll with the same Zoom.
Thank you. Thank you, Monique. I appreciate the conversation. It was great.
All right. See you next time, Brandy.
Thank you. Have a great weekend, all.
You too.
Bye, Monique. I'll see you tomorrow.
Peace, Selena. You're a boss.
I'm gonna grab some coffee. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a bio break myself. We can get started in about 10:07. Call it 10:07. Turn your camera on when you're back and ready to work.
Derek, what's new with you? How you been?
Howdy, Mo.
So I want to start a compost pile, I guess, in my yard. And I've tried to do it in the past when I lived in Denver. And I guess I wasn't doing something right, because I would get flies and worms and like all the stuff kind of was rotting, but it didn't turn into good usable compost.
What
or
kind
it
of
would dry
container
out.
are you using?
Well, when I did it in the past, I just kind of dug a little pit
Uh-huh.
right into the ground.
And what are you using now?
Well, I'm not using anything yet. I wanted to get your advice. I was actually thinking about
Oh.
getting one that's actually like its own container and you kind of rotate it like a bingo wheel.
Yeah, yeah, that's really good. So I use this stuff here. It's called Jojo Bee's Compost Starter. It's an organic
Okay.
compost starter. And you put in 2 cups about every 4 to 6 weeks with a little bit of water.
Okay.
And it kind of jump starts
Mhm.
the process.
Okay.
So that's,
I
works
knew
really
there had to
good.
be something like that product because I was like, it's just, it's not rotting the way it's supposed to. It just kind of was
Well,
getting
it
gross
will
and
take some
slimy.
time. So
Yeah.
the magic rule is that you want to eat, I don't know, a third browns, third greens, and then a little bit of dirt on top.
Okay.
You don't want to just use dirt from the store or whatever. You want to actually use real dirt that you dig out of the
It
ground
has microbes
because that's
in
where
it.
the microbes come from.
Mhm.
Okay, and
Okay.
then you stir it all about, shake it all about. That's what it's all about.
Did you get that compost starter at one of the big box stores or a smaller nursery? Where'd you find it?
Yeah, you can get it at Fox's. You can get it at
Okay.
Walmart. You can get it at the Lowe's. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for asking.
Eric, I'm sending you a private chat with that woman's email.
Oh, okay.
Who wants info about All Pueblo Grows?
Yeah, wonderful. Okay, we'll reach out. Get that going. Who's this?
All right, are folks back? Are we ready to jump in here? I see some folks, but we'll wait for others to just quickly.
I'm back and my picture will be soon.
All righty.
I am having the worst issues with my computer today, so give me another minute. Oh my gosh.
Issues.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, give me 1 second. I'll put the agenda in the chat there. And I saw that
How you doing, bud?
both Katie and Nana were in the main meeting, but I don't see them on the list now. So maybe I'll shoot them a quick note. Okay, here is the agenda.
Oh, I guess I'm on, huh?
Are we ready to get started?
Ready to get started. Let's do this. Welcome everyone to the November session of the Pueblo Food Council meeting. Just quick check-in review of the agenda. Does anybody have any additions to the agenda for today, please? How's everyone doing, by the way?
Barely staying above water, but I'm okay.
Cool. Let's see, we got me, Monique, Linda. Hi, Linda. How are you? Dr. Jim, welcome. Glad to have you here. Jonathan Reeves, Keith, glad to have you. Mo, Nana, Paula, Pueblo, Laura Solano. Hello, Laura again. Renee and Tom. Thank you also very much for jumping in here today. Okay. All right. So again, and no additions to the agenda for today. I guess we'll make a motion to approve the agenda for today.
I'll make that motion.
Anybody?